cool thing you could do in jQuery UI is the accordion feature. Now, personally, I would probably rather use the Bootstrap accordion because it just looks a bit nicer, and I would rather just use what's built into Bootstrap if I'm coding with Bootstrap rather than just hook in jQuery UI accordions. However, they still work quite well. Although I'm not a huge fan of the default styles, you can style it any way you want, remove the styles, customize the styles. It's no big deal. And my comments about Bootstrap, if you have no idea what I'm talking about there, don't worry about that. We'll be covering Bootstrap in an upcoming section of the course. But for now, let's talk about jQuery UI accordions. So right here, I just have HTML on the page. There is no accordion happening here, but we'll make the accordion happen. It's actually really easy. I have the accordion.html file here. Go ahead and plop that in your jQuery UI directory from the course files you downloaded. You know the drill. I have some content here. Basically, you're going to need to know for future reference how the syntax works, because you obviously need some HTML and then the JavaScript. So I have a div with the ID of accordion, and then I just have some content in here. So I have a level 2 heading and then a div that wraps just more content. So basically the idea is we have a parent container, which is the ID of accordion or whatever you want to call it. And then we have a trigger that we're going to be able to click. And jQuery UI automatically checks for that and kind of just does it for you, which is nice because there's a lot less markup than, say, Bootstrap, which actually has more markup to do pretty much the same thing. And then we just have a div with some content, and I have varying content in a couple of these here, really just one other one, just to show you how that works. And then in script.js, I'm going to scroll down here, and I'm going to work with the accordion. So let's do that right now. So I'm just going to select the accordion ID, and then watch this. Accordion. Bam, that is the syntax for the accordion. Now watch what happens. Refresh, and here we go. We have an accordion. So we have the accordion tab header and the content. And I can click these, and they will just kind of toggle through the different accordion tabs. And it works like an accordion. And you can see the default styles they have here. It's pretty much just there for you to see how it works because it's very likely that this isn't going to match how you want your website to look, especially if you've designed your website and then all of a sudden you throw something like this in there. It's really not going to match the choice of font, trebuchet or something like that. And just the user interface in general, I'm not a big fan of, but to each their own. It's just the principle of the thing. This works quite well in terms of jQuery. In terms of CSS, there is much to be desired, but you're a CSS master now. You can go ahead and style that as sexy as you want. Now, there are a couple other things you want to know about jQuery accordions. Basically, as you can see here, if I were to click the currently active tab, I'm clicking it, it's not closing. And you think that that would be a default functionality, but it's not. However, it's easy to do so. Extra parameter in the parentheses here, simply collapsible, true. Now, if I save, refresh, that will be a collapsible tab. All of them are collapsible if you open. Now, the other thing that you notice here is the height of the content box in each accordion tab is as tall as the tallest tab content. So, for example, here we have a paragraph and then 4 list items, whereas the other ones we just have a header and a paragraph. But there's all this empty space at the bottom, and that's to accommodate for this content right here. Now, if you want the height to vary based on what's in each of these boxes, rather than just automatically resizing to the tallest div, then there's an easy way to do that. And the reason why you'd want to do that is, what if you had content that, let me just do an example here just to show you how terrible this would be. I'm just going to add another paragraph here with a lot of content. Lots of content. Now save, watch what happens. Do you see how tall that box is? It's hideous, it's terrible. And that's to accommodate this. And we don't like that because it's just, it doesn't look good and it shouldn't behave that way. Well, you can again change that using the height style parameter. Looks like so. I'm just going to add a comma, height style, in strings, content. And that will go and resize the height based on the content of each individual tab, like so. Looks just fine. And there we go. You can see it's resized. And that's really all you need to know about the jQuery UI Accordion. For more info on the accordion, jQueryui.com/accordion. It has all the demos here. Pretty much what we covered, just a few extra things like custom icons and no auto height. If you want to hover on these bad boys, and you can play around doing like that. But I just showed you kind of just the basics of this one because, again, this isn't my most favorite UI element in jQuery UI, but I wanted to show you just in case you fall in love with it. Anyway, see you in the next lecture.